Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Join us.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. App for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
This vaccine is safe and it has been certified safe and usable by NAFTA.
War is an evil net that traps the innocent and the guilty.
War is a wildfire that spreads beyond the quenching efforts of men.
The weak, the strong, the rich, the poor, even the unborn will have no hiding place.
Tribes and tongues and religions will no longer make any meaning at all.
Knowledge will fail you. The economy will be grounded. Your political connections will be useless. And life in general will be stranded if not ended.
Manipulators, troublemakers, and table shakers will not be exempted.
That is why we must make peace the only option in Nigeria.
Join us in one love to preach peace in all the 36 states in Nigeria, including AFCT.
For peaceful engagements through town hall meetings, rallies, and unity concerts. Remember, the two strongest warriors are patience and time. Make peace the only option now. This.
We will support your efforts at keeping Ethiopia one, President Buhari assures Prime Minister Abiy at his inauguration.
I assure you that Nigeria will continue to support the unity and territorial integrity of Ethiopia.
Business communities calls Nigeria's economic diversification high at Second African Peer Review Validation Forum. Also tonight, government efforts and compassion responsible for suspension of strike, the resident doctors explain.
We have given this as a window for the government to implement those things they said they were going to implement.
Hello, good evening. This is NTA Network News. We are live in Abuja. I am Kenan Ima Abodike. Adeola Komiakare will be joining us from our Lagos studio. Nigeria has made a strong case for all the parties in dispute over the last parliamentary elections in Ethiopia to bury their differences, come together and chart a new course for unity, progress and general well-being of the country and her citizens. President Muhammadu Buhari made this submission in a goodwill message to government and the people of Ethiopia at the inauguration of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed for a second term in office. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The massive turnout of Ethiopians at the iconic Meskel Square, Addis Ababa, for the inauguration ceremony clearly shows the level of popularity, acceptability and respectability of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed in Ethiopia, regarded as the mother of African independence. In the last parliamentary elections, for instance, that guaranteed the renewal of his mandate for a second 5-year term, his Prosperity Party recorded a landslide victory, winning 410 out of the 436 federal parliamentary seats. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is, however, beginning his new term in office at a time the nearly 1-year deadly conflict in the Tigray region is worsening humanitarian conditions in the area, weakening the economy of Ethiopia and affecting his image internationally. In a goodwill message, President Muhammadu Buhari expressed the conviction that the outcome of the elections not only reflects the people's desire for transformation, but also affirms their confidence in the Prime Minister's leadership, courage, and credentials.
We are all aware of the many challenges facing the people of Ethiopia, and we encourage all parties to come together in the interest of the unity, progress, and well-being of Ethiopia. Your Excellency, you therefore have a great opportunity to continue to work for the peace and stability of Ethiopia.
While wishing the Prime Minister a very successful tenure in office, President Muhammadu Buhari looks forward to a more fruitful and robust engagement between Nigeria and Ethiopia.
Nigeria, like many other countries, is counting on your leadership by expanding investment opportunities, deepening relations, and building trust at home and abroad. I assure you that Nigeria will continue to support the unity and territorial integrity of Ethiopia.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who was earlier sworn in the House of the People's Representatives, pledged to execute his mandate with faith to the Constitution of Ethiopia. The challenges ahead, he emphasized, might be daunting but not insurmountable. Several heads of state and government attended the colorful and remarkable event in solidarity. From Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Let's go to health matters, as Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors have been speaking and wrote informed its decision to suspend the month-long industrial action this Monday. Oluseyi Adebo quotes the national president of the association, Dr. Dare Ishaya, as saying government has met some of their demands and they are also resuming on compassionate grounds.
After critical appraisal of the performance of both federal and state government on all the issues that led to the ongoing strike as stated above, progress made in implementing previous agreement reached with the federal government, the intervention of His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Vice President, the Honorable Minister for Labor and Employment, NEC resolved by vote of a simple majority to suspend the total and indefinite strike action embarked upon on 2nd August 2021.
By this decision, doctors in Nigeria are expected to resume work on Wednesday, 6th of October 2021, hoping that the government will keep its own part of the bargain.
We have given this as a window for the government to implement those things they said they were going to implement within the next 6 weeks.
Public hospitals across the country have been without services of resident doctors in the past 63 days. In Abuja, Oluseyi Adiagbo, NTA News.
Turning now to health matters, where the 36 state governments of the Federation, or rather this is on judiciary, the 36 states of the Federation are seeking an order of the Supreme Court compelling the federal government to take up the funding of capital projects for state high courts, sharing courts of appeal and customary courts of appeal. Counsel to the governors sought the order at the hearing of the suit filed by them at the Supreme Court. Judiciary correspondent Vera Chinweba reports that lawyers who appeared as friends of the court made submissions.
The 36 state governments are challenging the Executive Order Number 10 on financial autonomy of the judiciary signed by the president. The state governments also sought another order of the Supreme Court to compel the federal government to pay them 66 billion naira, being amount they have so far expended on capital projects for the 3 courts in their states. Plaintiff's counsel Augustine Alege SAN, who led 8 other senior advocates, informed the panel of 7 justices of the court, led by Justice Mohammed Musa Datibe, that the courts are of the Federation and as such funding of their capital projects should flow from the Consolidated Revenue Fund. The learned senior advocate further opined that since salaries and emoluments of the judges are being paid by the federal government, Section 81 of the Constitution should be invoked to place the responsibility of funding capital projects on the federal government. However, the Attorney General of the Federation, represented by Tijani Ghazali SAN, vehemently opposed the request of the state governments. The defendant counsel, who predicted his argument on the fact that while the issue of salaries and emoluments are expressly stated in the Constitution as the responsibility of the federal government, the section is silent on capital projects.
It constitutes an abuse of court process, res judicata, and issue estopel.
It is an innovation, it is a commendable one, and that we must begin to implement it such that judiciary will no longer be at the beck and call of a governor or of a president.
I adopted certain interpretation of law which did not allow me to align with them.
The constitution is explicit. The federation is just to bear allowances and salaries, not capital expenditure.
After listening to the submission of the parties, Justice Datijo received judgment, which he said would be communicated to all parties. In Abuja, Vera Chinweba, NTA News.
Still on judicial matters, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has rejected an application by Senator representing Borno South, Ali Indube, to withdraw as surety for the chairman, defunct Pension Reform Task Team, Abdul Rashid Maina. This was during the resumption of the case of alleged fraud involving the defendant. Olawade Arewa reports.
Ali Ndume told the court that he was withdrawing his surety because his assets would be forfeited to the federal government. Justice Okunabang declined jurisdiction over the issue since the matter was already before the Court of Appeal. But he ordered that the substantive matter of 2.9 billion naira alleged to have been fraudulently taken that was filed against Abdul Rashid Maina should continue. The matter had been adjourned to October 7. Meanwhile, proceedings also continued on the alleged case of 29 billion naira fraud filed against the former governor of Adamawa State, Muritala Yako. At the resumed hearing, Defense Counsel Kanu Agabi, SAN, called attention to an appeal challenging the trial court's decision that Nyako should enter his defense. The court granted an adjournment to Thursday for the parties to file more processes.
But what I just told the court is that there is no need to hear that kind of application because of what the Supreme Court has said about it, that the court should not entertain it.
The court was faced with a situation where it will consider the effect of health of counsel chosen by a party on the proceedings.
In Abuja, Labrador, NTA News.
In politics, the South-South Governors Meeting has ended in Port Harcourt with several resolutions that will impact on the region positively. Ogede Yekwere completes the report.
The meeting, which was held behind closed doors, had in attendance the governors of Edo, Delta, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, and the host Rivers. After an extensive deliberations, the chairman of the forum and governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, read out the communique issued by the group. The forum approved the setting up of a regional security architecture, supports the decision for states to collect value-added tax, VAT, and resolved to join in the suit before the Supreme Court. The forum wants the National Assembly to review some aspects of the recently signed Petroleum Industry Act.
Council called upon the President and the federal government to uphold the law
establishing the Niger Delta Development Commission by appropriately constituting its board. In addition, it expressed the hope that the federal government would make the forensic audit report public and deal justly and fairly with the report with a view to strengthening the capacity of NDDC to meet its obligations to the people of the region.
In Port Harcourt, Oge Dinyekwere, NTA News.
The World Bank State's Fiscal Transparency, Accountability and Sustainability Program, SFTAS, curated by the federal government, has begun to assess the performance of states. In Edo State, the Communication Specialist SFTAS Program Coordination Unit, Ibrahim Mohammed, led a media team on an assessment tour of agencies in the state. Odrakabong Achibong reports.
State in 2019 emerged one of the best performing states in the 2019 annual performance assessment by CIFTAS. The media team from the Federal Ministry of Finance took their tour to some agencies in the state, including Edo State Geographic Information Service, Edo GIS, Edo State Internal Revenue Service, Edo State Public Procurement Agency, as well as the Office of the Accountant General of Edo State. Interaction cut across disbursement-linked indicators of CIFTAS achieved by the state in the areas of property and building enumeration.
The pension arrears as at 2018 when we started was 2.6 billion. If you look at our financial statement of 2020, it was already reduced to 522 million. And as at the first quarter of 2021, we had paid off that, that liability.
What happens after the lifespan of this CIFTAS, which is going to terminate in 2022? So we want continuity. We are also calling on the media and the civil society as agents of change and public enlightenment to continue to advocate for the consolidation of the ideals.
CIFTAS is an agreement between the federal government and the World Bank designed to increase and strengthen fiscal capabilities of participating states. In Benin, Udakobong Achibong, NTA News.
You're watching NTA News at 9. We'll pause for some messages. The news continues shortly. Do stay with the NTA.
Mr. Kaku like to Kaku. Every day must do Kaku. Yeah, if you want me go Kaku. If you want me go Kaku. Every time he like to reason. Even free things he go bad easy. Chloe's there for you in every season. You don't have to over easy. Glow, better get that. Glow, oh that better. Glow, better get that. Glow, oh that better. Glow, better get that.
You don't have to be a Mr. Kaku when it comes to data. Get a Glow MiFi for 12,000 Naira and get up to 60 gigabytes data free.
The federal government has commenced second phase of COVID-19 vaccination. If you are 18 years and above and unvaccinated, register at www.nphcda.vaccination.gov.ng. Visit the nearest vaccination site to receive AstraZeneca or Moderna COVID-19 vaccine as first dose. If you received your first dose of AstraZeneca vaccine before 8th July, get your second dose now. All COVID-19 vaccines are free and certified safe. At the vaccination site, you can check blood pressure and know your diabetes risk status. Children aged 0 to 23 months will receive childhood vaccines and screened for malnutrition. After vaccination, continue to adhere to COVID-19 prevention protocols. For more information, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng or call 0700-220-1122. This message is from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency.
Hey there, what's on your bucket list? Would you like to travel the world, live your best life? What if I told you you could blow right this minute and do everything on that list? Airtel is celebrating its anniversary and saying thank you to all loyal customers. You stand a chance to win up to 100 million Naira with guaranteed cash tokens in the Airtel Recharge and Blow Anniversary promo. Plus 250 megabytes and 20 SMS free. How awesome is that? All you have to do is recharge to win. For more information, dial *444*4#. Everyone's a winner. So hurry now. The more you recharge, the more you win.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
I dey look for pension fund administrator. Where soft, make sense, we care for me. Shy. No be the time when story go enter the matter when it's time to deliver. Stress you, call them, then they accessible. Customer care where they on point. You no go regret when you try, of course. Profitable investment, everything is just a blend. If you know what's good for you, my guy, make you choose premium pension today. Make that switch to premium pension. Make that switch to premium pension.
Join over 700,000 satisfied members and enjoy the premium experience at our offices across the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT. Call 094615-700-704 to make the switch today. Premium pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
The Honorable Minister of Education, Adamu, cordially invites stakeholders and the general public to this year's celebration of World Teachers' Day. Theme: Teachers at the Heart of Education Recovery. Venue: Eagle Square. Date: Tuesday, 5th October 2021. Time: 10 a.m. Come, let's celebrate the Nigerian teacher. Architect Sonny S.T. Echomo, Permanent Secretary, Announcer.
The Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission hereby invites all state executive, legislative and judiciary officials or presiding officers, local government officials, civil society groups, organized labor, elder statesmen and the general public to the zonal public hearing on the revenue allocation formula review scheduled as follows. Southwest hosting state, Lagos, comprising of Ekiti, Oyo, Ogun, Ondo and Osun, date 4th and 5th October. South hosting state, Rivers, comprising of Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River, Delta and Edo State, date 7th and 8th October. Southeast hosting state, Imo, comprising of Anambra, Ebonyi, Abia, and Enugu, date 11th and 12th October. Northwest hosting state, Kaduna, comprising of Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, and Zamfara, date 14th and 15th October. North Central hosting state, Kogi, comprising of Benue, Kwara, Nasarawa, and Plateau, date 18th and 19th October. Northeast hosting state, Gombe, comprising of Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Taraba, and Yobe, date 21st and 22nd October. FCT, 25th and 26th October 2021.
Participants are expected to submit 5 hard copies of their memoranda in addition to a soft copy on the proposed review to the Secretary of the Commission, Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission,
with the phone number 0803-450-0062.
Before or during the public hearing, all memoranda should contain the contact address and telephone numbers of the authors.
Signed, Management.
Give your kids winning energy. Milo Active Go. With the goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa, helps them make the most of every day. Milo, the energy to go further.
Welcome back. The National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, says it will not hesitate to revoke the license of any media organization that operates contrary to the provisions of the nation's broadcasting code. Director General of the Commission, Balarabe Ilela, said these are the presentation of license to new operators in the sector. Adewale Brusklin Sunday reports.
Act requires broadcasters to provide a varied range of news and programs. In addition to the existing media outfits in Nigeria, 300 applications were submitted to the presidency, out of which 159 got approval after scrutiny.
Media is capable of putting the country on fire.
Before the handover of certificates of provisional licenses, the Director General told operators
that the license is granted to you to enable you contribute your meaningful quota to the development of Nigeria, create jobs, and build bridges across the nation.
They pledged not to contravene the NBC Act.
It's a huge responsibility that has been placed on our shoulders, and we want to promise that we shall not disappoint.
Though thankful for the privilege, some media chief executives want the federal government to review the license fees following the high cost of production.
Feeling the pains of paying staff salary, buying diesel, epileptic power.
We are concerned with the level of insecurity in the country, and the media has a critical role to play.
It's a major milestone. That means the president is a listening president, and it means well for Nigeria and Nigerians.
The new operators are to run as commercial, community,
campus radio and television stations in the country. Adebola, Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
And talking economy now, for most in the export business, the journey and seamless procedures at the nation's ports is a nightmare with dread. These concerns are now being addressed by the federal government through the Domestic Export Warehouse Program spread across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Leah Katung Babatunde has been looking at this initiative.
Diversifying the nation's economy and reducing administrative bottlenecks have been synonymous with the present administration. The African Continental Free Trade Area has thrown up an opportunity for Nigeria to reposition her export sector to take optimum advantage of the agreement. The Domestic Export Warehouse, known as DEW, primarily targets non-oil exports and is domiciled in the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC.
To take care of situations of export from the hinterland. That is to be able to boycott the protocols at the seaport that is causing congestion.
In establishing these warehouses, the NAPC is engaging facilitators from the 6 geopolitical zones.
There, the container is leaving there, NPA is willing to collect. So imagine the multiplier effects in terms of job creation and in terms of wealth creation. You know the number of exporters that we spring up from this area.
Export processes will be decentralized beyond Nigerian Port Authority in Lagos and on air to process export, both solids, agricultural or whatever resources.
Policymakers say the DEW will encourage non-oil exporters to be more proactive and create jobs in line with President Muhammadu Buhari's quest to create 100 million jobs in 10 years. Leah Katung-Babatunde, NTA News.
In the meantime, Nigeria has made significant progress on economic diversification in recent years through the federal government's support of critical sectors such as agriculture and ICT. This is the consensus of members of the business community in Abuja during their engagement with the African Peer Review Mission towards the validation of Nigeria's self-assessment report. Vitari Ben reports.
The fact that Nigeria is opened for transparent assessment of its governance processes is considered heartwarming by the African Peer Review Mission.
Very few presidents take this bold step to allow the other countries to come and review their policies.
The new 2020 KAMA law makes stringent provisions for transparency in the leadership, board and finances of corporate organizations, including not-for-profit organizations.
On corporate governance and ease of doing business, key players applauded the Nigerian government for matching words with action and moving away from over-dependence on oil within a short time.
The CBN loan has assisted some of the farmers to be able to get funds. Payment of the loan has been extended. The interest rate, a lot of issues have been waived.
Doing business becomes an easy approach. Coming into the country to set up business becomes an easy approach. And I think technology is also helping.
We have pieced our information together, even from the market women, the rural dwellers.
The validation of the country's self-assessment report will produce a new national plan of action.
It will consolidate our gains of democracy, proffer solution to it, and be able to champion a way forward for our future.
The APROM team will also compare notes with other sectors in the coming days and weeks. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Nigeria must continue to improve her business environment to maximize the opportunities in the African Continental Free Trade Area. This position was put forward by promoters of Made in Nigeria goods at the opening of the 16th Abuja International Trade Fair. Musa Abubakar reports.
With focus on showcasing made in Nigerian goods and huge trade potentials, the Abuja International Trade Fair is the next port of call for these businesses from within and outside the Federal Capital Territory. The This year's edition focused on taking advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and partners are particular about capacitating Nigerian businesses to be well positioned.
Private sector must be ready to capitalize on the readiness of government to deploy all state apparatus in support of Nigeria's participation in the Africa trade.
The agreement has entered into effect or into force on 1st of January this year, 2021. But we are still putting in place certain measures and to make sure that we implement.
AFCFTA has the potential to increase employment opportunities, reduce poverty, and broaden economic inclusion, which will lead to inclusive economic growth.
With more local businesses ready to take the continental stage, the future of the Single Market Initiative looks bright, starting with this exhibition. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
The Central Bank of Nigeria develops plan to boost wheat production as investors gain 14.4 billion naira to open the week positive in the capital market. Musa Abubakar is live in the studio with details on business news.
Thank you, Kenny. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has developed a strategic action plan to boost wheat production by addressing the existing challenges in its value chain to boost foreign reserves. The Director of Development Finance Department at the CBN, Yila Yusuf, disclosed this in Abuja at a wheat conference and stakeholder engagement with theme improving and sustaining the wheat value chain development in Nigeria. Hila disclosed that wheat is the second highest contributor to the country's food import bill, putting pressure on the country's foreign reserve as over $2 billion was spent annually on the importation of over 5 million metric tons of wheat. He added that the CBN seeks to focus attention on the wheat value chain for 2021-2022 dry season planting through the financing massive production of wheat in Nigeria and facilitating sustained availability of high-yield seed variety in the country. And now to stocks. The equities market closed Monday's trading session on a positive note. The all-share index gained 0.05% at 40,243.05 basis points, and equity capitalization at 20.9 trillion naira. 202.3 million shares value at 1.8 billion naira. Exchange hands in 4,066 deals. The financial services industry dominated the activity chart with Fidelity Bank, followed by Guarantee Trust Holding Company PLC and FBN Holding PLC. Well, that's business news. It's back to you, Kenny.
Thank you, Musa. We now take you to Lagos Network Center for more news for that zone. Adela will be guiding us. Over to you, Adela.
Thank you, Kenny. A Nigerian televangelist and pastor of Household of God Church International Ministries, Reverend Chris Okotie, has reassured Nigerians that victory over challenges confronting the country is near, considering the fact that Nigeria is a fast-moving nation. He was speaking at the 61st Independence Anniversary of the country, organized by the church in Lagos. Olumide Iguntola reports.
Reverend Chris Okotie led other members of the Household of God Church International Ministries to celebrate Nigeria at 61 in grand style with various songs and dancing steps. God bless Nigeria. The More Than a Conqueror song was the reassuring message of the clergyman that the moving Nigeria is closer to victory over all our challenges, seeking God's face for the vision that will fix Nigeria and taking practical divine steps by all Nigerians are pivotal to success rather than the blame game.
There's hope for Nigeria. 61 is what we call a numerical
portmanteau. 6 and 1 put together give us the number 7, which is the number of God, which is rest, which is perfection, you know. So there is hope. It portends good things for Nigeria. We cannot allow the problems that we face now to stultify the process. We must keep moving and hold on with a dogged tenacity to the brotherhood of the Nigerian state and not give up on Nigeria.
Reverend Chris Okoti concluded that as Nigeria progresses through another chapter of existence, embracing the principle of togetherness, patronizing indigenous developmental initiatives, and respect for our culture, rather than seeking greener pasture abroad, we take the country to a higher ground.
More power to you, Pastor.
In Lagos, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
Now to other reports. Getting young Nigerians actively involved in the electioneering process in Nigeria will give them the opportunity to be represented in the political decision-making in the country. This was the consensus of speakers at a 2-day national retreat for Young Parliamentarians Forum in Lagos.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says in the last general elections, about 50% of the voters were aged between 18 to 35. There is no doubt that young people are and will remain a major political factor in Nigeria. It is against this backdrop and ahead of the 2023 general elections that the national retreat seeks to galvanize young Nigerians into active participation in the political process in the country.
Political parties in Nigeria should give the youth more prominent role in running the affairs of the parties beyond the position of youth leader.
The 2023 general elections are a chance to give young people in Nigeria a political voice, to give them the opportunity to be represented in the parliaments on national and state level in a better way.
The constitutional alterations of 2018, which reduced the age of qualification for president, governor, and membership to the National Assembly, was an important step in the right direction.
Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo represented, and Speaker Gbajabiamila Mila agreed that the signing of the Not Too Young bill into law by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2018 is part of government's effort towards encouraging young Nigerians to vie for any elective positions in the country.
The essence and fulcrum is to prepare, equip, and build the capacity of youths as future leaders.
I hope that this conversation will help determine a coherent strategy to ensure that by the next general elections in 2023, the youth of Nigeria can begin to influence the direction of politics commensurate to the percentage of the population they represent.
The retreat, with the theme Youth Alliance Towards 2023 General Elections, is being organized by National Assembly with support by Conrad Adnora Stiftung in Lagos. Ruth Ario Samuel, NTA News.
And that's the stories we have from Lagos. We will take a break now. The network news will continue thereafter. Please stay with us.
Time always moves forward. And just like the hands of time, our journey has been forward and progressive. It's a movement that empowered 25 million Nigerians with skills and tools for job creation and employability. It's been a road to open doors and partnerships that have remained steadfast throughout the decades. It's taken us to communities and given us a foothold to deliver our programs to the doorsteps of Nigerians nationwide. Our Golden Jubilee is the year of skills escalation for prosperity, and like gold, the ITF will remain valuable and timeless. Industrial Training Fund, developing the nation's human resource.
I started drawing a lot when I was younger, and I always wanted to go into something art related.
I jumped, into the room that we were still smoking to pick him up.
The curtain was melting
on him.
As I put my hand on his shin, his skin gave way.
Corporate organizations turned their backs on us. NTN came in at a point when I was at my lowest.
And it turned the story around.
Being a fitness enthusiast, it has served as a form of therapy.
You call someone great, and then you expect that he has to go through something so that that name will be real. As his name is, that's how his future is.
On this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I have been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To disinfect your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains remover. Harpic sticker formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergent and bleach.
Wow!
The CEOs of tomorrow are already on ground. Nigeria's youth are active partners in nation building. Youths must strive to be heard. Youth is the power to make choices. For voices who see the world differently and process it with divergent views. Join us at the National Youth Conference in October 2021. All roads lead to Abuja. 3 whole days at the conference. Youth delegates from the 36 states of Nigeria and the FCT, having conversations centered on youth inclusiveness, peace, security, governance, and employment. It is time for us to emerge. Let the youth decide. The National Youth Conference is made possible by the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development and private sector partners.
Wow Washing Win Millions promo. Millions of naira, daily prizes, and 1 million wow sachets are up for grabs. Buy wow now. Offer valid till 25th October 2021.
Each wow pack gets a lot of clothes clean and fresh. Wow. Washes a lot, saves a lot.
Give your kids winning energy. Milo Active Go. With the goodness of malts, milk, and cocoa, helps them make the most of every day. Milo, the energy to go further.
We've had many battles, we have won some wars, but in all our struggles, we have lost loved ones. It may be cloudy outside, but not for very long. We will surely see the sun. 'Cause we know, no matter the weather, no matter the tide, we go there together. We stand by your side. No yawa, no problem. Go fit stand to fight us. We go stand together. We go beat them down.
Iheanacho near post and scores.
The Super Eagles of Nigeria will look to continue their excellent start to the World Cup qualifiers when they take on Leithove of Central African Republic. Will Leithove pull off a shock on the home soil of the Super Eagles? It's Nigeria versus Central African Republic at the Tesla Balogun Stadium in Lagos, Nigeria on the 7th of October, showing on the network service of the NTA and AIT from 4:30 p.m. with live radio broadcast on Cool FM, Wazobia FM and Nigeria Info. You can also join online at sporting.com and NPFL TV. The FIFA World Cup qualifiers are proudly brought to you by BetNiger and supported by MTN, Coca-Cola and Dettol, proud sponsors of the Super Eagles.
Thank you for staying with us on the NTA Network News. Despite the deteriorating security situations and the COVID-19 pandemic impact felt across the Lake Chad Basin region, the Regional Stability Facility launched by the Governors Forum is seen as a demonstration of commitment and local ownership that is hoping to restore the region. This was the perception of speakers at the ongoing third meeting of the Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum holding in Cameroon. Justin Bemunyi has the details.
The leadership of the local, national and regional actors was identified as a key factor for success and sustainability for the stabilization of the region after suffering massive terrorism impacts. And what was on the lips of every speaker at the forum was that development first comes from within.
Progress has been made in rebuilding communities, in restoring social contract, in re-establishing and sustaining a sense of community safety, and in providing livelihood opportunities to some of the affected communities.
We must also acknowledge as development actors that it is time to advance local leadership to accelerate development. This means standing behind, not in front of local, national, and regional actors. We must now accept local knowledge and listen to local actors sincerely.
It is important, beyond the military approach, to address the root causes as well as the consequences of the crisis in the Chad Basin.
The ISG calls on all national governments to support and invest in the territorial action plans, the so-called TAPs, as the foundation for stabilization, recovery, and development of the affected areas.
Expected outcomes from the ongoing forum will include a thorough assessment of the state of humanitarian and security situation with concrete recommendations, among other expectations. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Following launch of the National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy by President Muhammadu Buhari and the ongoing drive for implementation and mainstreaming across sectors, the Office of the National Security Advisor is organizing multi-stakeholder sensitization workshops for different sectors. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa was at the sensitization for the educational sector in Abuja.
Digital transformation is now visible in all sectors in Nigeria to boost the socio-economic development of the nation. This revolution is vital to the educational sector as it enhances ease of tracking records. These benefits are sometimes threatened.
In a bid to ensure that we effectively harness the benefits of the digital revolution while effectively combating the heightened risks of cyber threats, the federal government of Nigeria reviewed Nigeria's maiden National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy 2014 and formulated a comprehensive 2021 version.
The document was developed in line with the global best practices and provisions of the Cybercrime Prohibition Prevention Act of 2015. Document is meant to provide strategic direction for cybersecurity in the nation.
This forum is therefore aimed at sensitizing stakeholders in the education, their responsibilities towards the actualization of the government policies.
The education sector must rise now and collaborate with the security agencies because the threat is real.
Other sectors are expected to benefit from the ongoing enlightenment on the multi-sectoral policy. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Now, teams Nasarawa, Niger and Ogun emerged top 3 states in the President's Inter-School Debate Championships National Finals and award ceremony held to commemorate Nigeria at 61. Charles Alpha reports on how the event went in Abuja.
Free and compulsory education for school-age students are the cardinal points of the President's Inter-Senior Secondary School Debate. The idea stems from providing life skills to promoting unity among students through creation of platforms such as this to enable them express themselves not only in schools but at home when abused. Drawn from various states, schools were tested on topical issues and rated based on ability to communicate. Team Nasarawa came first in the Inter-Senior Secondary School Debate Championship. Niger came second, while Ogun ranked third.
It was really hard at the beginning, but at the end, it was simple. I give God all the glory.
We are bringing students from all of our zones to keep Nigeria
moving. One Nigeria.
Slated to commemorate Nigeria at 61, organizers and patron of the President's School Debates Nigeria, Aisha Muhammad Buhari, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Education and House Committee on Basic Education and Service, remain convinced that effective leadership can only be realized through the education of the younger generation.
I hope that through this, we'll be able to nurture and mentor students.
Winners are prepared and are expected to participate at World Debate Forum. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Barely a year after the inauguration of the Etape-Warri standard gauge railway line, a visit to the rail line shows an unpleasant situation with inadequate maintenance culture and poor services. Oyinaya Kaluaka reports.
Everything is not working, says an angry passenger, and that seems to paint a vivid picture of the situation at the Etape-Warri rail line.
That toilet is not even accessible.
It starts from the beautiful train stations. At Etape, passengers were seen standing or sitting on the floor, as seats are not enough.
The management here is poor.
The toilets at the stations are not functioning, and security situation very relaxed.
The entire process is flawed. First and foremost, there was no COVID compliance, there was no security checks.
Time for boarding, same negative stories. Late arrival of the train, which is said to be a consistent practice.
Then today now is my second time. Just 1 week interval now. The delay is really much.
The delay of this train, we not understand though. We don't do it since let's say train they come around 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, Abi. Time now. Let me check time. Now check time for me.
After 4.
After 4.
Past 4.
Past 4 safe.
While on board the train, the toilets were still locked, and there seems to be no proper seating arrangements.
The seat numbering, the coach numbering is another story entirely. My coach was supposed to be SP038, and right now I'm inside another coach that is SP025.
The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Transportation, Dr. Magdalene Ajani, who was at the stations for final inspection before the handing over of certificate of completion to the construction company, acknowledged these lapses.
As the challenges are staring us in the face, we have to look at how to solve them. And that's the main reason why I took this trip. Already it is in the plan to expand or extend the waiting area at Ujewu, and now we have seen that it's even more urgent to start from Itape.
She said the ministry will look into providing alternative means of electricity to tackle some of the challenges. Nigerian Railway Corporation was directed by the Permanent Secretary to provide signages at all the stations. Oyinaya Kaluoka, NTA News.
We have more messages for you. The news continues shortly.
At 61, how far has Nigeria fared in its developmental strides, along with the challenges of nationhood? That's our focus on NTA Tuesday Alive this week, with the 61st Independence celebration still in the air. Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. It promises to be incisive and educative. Join us.
Our new toothpaste, Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection.
Why are we changing our toothpaste?
Because with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, I can be sure your teeth are cavity-free.
When you brush daily with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, its expert formula locks natural calcium in our teeth and helps protect them from cavity. Colgate is the world's most chosen toothpaste.
Colgate locks calcium in,
keeps cavities out.
When you wake up in the morning before you start your day,
breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
For work and for play, for a great start to your day.
Breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
We always start our day with a nourishing Kellogg's breakfast, powered with the goodness of grains and 11 essential vitamins and minerals.
Is available in 90 naira only, with 10% extra inside.
Fresh liquid field gum to refresh your confidence instantly. Fresh liquid field gum. Trust the freshness.
We don't like to eat better, more nutritious meals, more veggies, but we want it tasty and easy too. Knorr Cubes, that's the secret. Made with real ingredients like chicken, parsley, and garlic, and enriched with iron, so your meals are better for you and more delicious too. That's the cocoa. Let's give it some accolades. Change your world by changing what's on your plate.
Welcome back as we now go to sports updates with Tamara Ibiwe as our guest, as our guide.
Thank you, Kene. Welcome to Sports Update. Footballers first. Chigozie Awaziem, Daniel Akpeyi, and Chidera Ejuke have arrived Super Eagles camp in Lagos ahead of Friday's World Cup qualifying match against Central African Republic. The trio are the first players to report to camp in Lagos after the team's camp officially opened Sunday. The Super Eagles played the first leg on Thursday, while the return leg holds Sunday in Douala, Cameroon. Watford has confirmed the appointment of former Leicester City coach Claudio Ranieri as new manager. The Premier League title winner with Leicester City had been out of job since June after ending his stint with Serie A side Sampdoria. He returns to England 2 years after his departure from Fulham. Ranieri will face Liverpool in his first game on October 16. Talking cricket now, newly elected president of the Nigeria Cricket Federation, Uyosa Akpata, has set a target of recruiting 250,000 youths nationally into the sport. This, he says, is one of his core pursuits during his term in office as president.
In the last 4 years, we witnessed giant strides in cricket, and we think it was unanimous there that we need now to even explore the potentials further.
And that's a sports update. Kene, you're on.
Thank you very much, Tamara. Well, let's remind you that it is very important to remain a star with the NTA in our fight against rape and rapists. That's where we draw the curtain on tonight's edition of NTA Network News. My name is Kenan Ima Ambodike. Good night.
Stop this senseless killing. All we need is one Nigeria.
I think we have come to the threshold of time when we need to seek for peace.
We need peace
in this country. We need peace in Nigeria.
And together, we can pull through.
No matter where you come from.
Hausa, Igbo, or Yoruba.
We cannot achieve a better Nigeria by fighting.
Let us stand together in brotherhood and solidarity and strive for peace.
And not because of their tribal or their religion or whatsoever background.
Let us support the government of the day to embrace peace in our nation.
Your Nigeria, our Nigeria, my Nigeria.
This message is brought to you by the Ambassador of Voice for Change Initiative, supported by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, and the Federal Capital Territory.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight, and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the Sports Parliament. Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA. Keep a date with the parliamentarians.
The eyes have it.
Welcome to Abuja, the place that unites Nigeria.
Wannan labarin ma yana peji na 36.
Ita kuma babban labarin wannan jarida shine ainihin
labarin da ke gaban jarida shine ta bayyana cewa
ọkwa ojii kenga eziokwu
nwanne m nwoke
Ikechukwu Ndukwe Igbo
mam iji wee mee ka ụbọchị na-aga n'anya ya ọjụtụtụ na-ewutelu unu.
Nation fún ti òwúrọ̀ yìí ibẹ̀ náà ti sọ pé àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣẹ ìpínlẹ̀ Benue pàṣẹ wípé.
ní gbogbo àwọn ẹ̀ka ní ẹ̀ka ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ní ẹ̀ka ètò ìlera ní ẹ̀ka ètò ààbò